Three mistakes made by correction card newbies, coming up here on the Better Sundays podcast at Reachkeep.com. Welcome to the Better Sundays podcast, focused, practical, and usable advice for church leaders looking to reach new young families and impact their community. Greetings. Good to have you here. This is Mike in studio here with I Love My Church shirt on today, and we're excited to be talking about connection cards for the next several weeks. This is a super powerful tool that every church needs to learn how to use and to master, and today we're covering some of the mistakes that are made when you first begin with the connection cards. You might think of them as being a replacement of your little visitor card, or you might think of them as just a little replacement for a prayer request card, but I want to give you some things to really kind of help you not make those mistakes. Over the next several weeks, we're going to be covering some things to really make your connection cards stand up and really go. And then we're going to give you, in a few weeks, the number one best thing that you can use to create engagement with a connection card. Now, you might be brand new to connection cards and be wondering what they even are in the first place. I have a stack of them right here. These are from a recent Sunday. These are cards that are turned in by every single person in the church every single Sunday. So every single week, everybody fills out a card and turns it in. Now, you may think there's a lot of tedious work to that, but I'm going to tell you, this is an amazing tool, and I don't know how you could ever pastor a church without using something like this, and I'll get into that in just a moment. But basically, they are printed every single week. These are not mass-produced. These are, one side of it has the data where you would put your phone numbers and things along that line. The other side has a place for you to check off prayer requests and volunteer opportunities and a variety of other things that we'll be teaching you and training you how to do over the next several weeks. If you are brand new to these, I want to invite you to download our Connection Card Guidebook. It's about a 10-page guidebook that explains all of the things I'm talking about, gives you details, give you some sample pictures of cards, some of the responses that you get and ways to do those. And you can go to reachkeep.com/connection, just the word connection, after you go to reachkeep.com and put that little slash mark thing. And then from there, it'll just ask for your email address and it'll send this PDF off to you. And you can take a look at that, spread it around to your church, let people see how to do it if you have a secretary that needs to understand how these things work. They are a little bit of work, but like anything, when you put the effort in, you get the feedback. You get things back that are well worth it. And we're going to explain some of that. The other thing about connection cards is just really important to understand that they're different than just a visitor card. A lot of people want information from visitors, and one of the ways you get visitors to get that is that you have everybody fill out a card, and you take time during your service, we'll explain that, and say, hey, please take out your connection card, and everybody fills theirs out at the same time, and they can add different things to them and kind of check things off throughout the service if they want, or towards the end of the service. And then we hand these in an offering plate type of thing that we do. We actually have some buckets that we pass around, and people put their offering in that, and they put their connection card in, and we recommend that you do that at the conclusion of your service so that people have plenty of time to fill some of these things out. So, hey, let's get into a couple things to the mistakes that newbies kind of make on this. And if you're brand new to this, it's really easy to kind of look at it as just kind of doing a visitor card or doing maybe a prayer request and not looking at it quite in depth. I remember when we first started homeschooling our children, a lot of people made the mistake of trying to do what happened in a schoolhouse in your house. In other words, we're going to do the school thing in our house, and they had little tiny desks and little tiny things, and all the kids started with the Pledge of Allegiance and stood up, and they started exactly on time, and they ended on time. And if you've homeschooled for any length of time, you probably have found that you adapt out of that a little bit, and you get a little bit more flexible because you find your deeper purpose is to pour your life into your children, and you're really discipling your children. This is not a message on homeschooling, but I homeschooled all my boys all the way through their entire, all their schooling, and it was a wonderful experience as we poured our life into them. We didn't do just something that we saw somewhere else and make it kind of fit that way. And I say that to say that, again, it's not just a little place to put a prayer request. It is not really just a replacement for a visitor card, like, oh, I want to get their address, so we'll go visit them. It's actually, and this is point number one, we newbies make this mistake. They forget that a connection card is a window into the soul of your people. Now, that sounds kind of bizarre and kind of wild and all that. But think about if a person came forward to an altar afterwards and you preached a message and they made this powerful decision and you talked to them for 20 minutes and they poured their heart out and they gave you all sorts of information and all that. The last thing that you would want is when they came to the altar, is like, well, what's your phone number? What's your address? Okay, you wouldn't ask that right off the bat. You would end up getting that, but what you're really getting is their experience and what their needs are and where they are. And folks, these are a window into the soul of your people. When you start getting feedback on here from some of these and people start sharing their hearts and they're pouring out things, it's an amazing thing that happens. Now, there's a place for prayer requests, and that's a very important thing for us to get the requests of our people, fresh prayer requests every single week we get from our people on these. And I'll tell you how we kind of process all that a little bit later. But the idea is you get fresh stuff from them. You also get fresh burdens that are poured out. So they're not just a prayer request, but sometimes people are just simply pouring out their heart on the card. And I've had times when people have, put their prayer requests on there and they've written down the side and they filled in everything. They poured in all sorts of different things that they have written in because they are bearing their soul. It is like an opportunity, and I'm for people coming forward. It's a great practice, done it for years, had people come forward, kneel, pray, you can counsel with them. But this really everybody gets the opportunity to do this. And in a typical service, you might get a few people that come forward or whatever. And what I'm just saying is it's really an opportunity for people to do a lot more and pour their hearts out. And it is an opportunity for you to get more of your people to actually do that. We have a huge percentage of people that fill these out. And I've had churches say, well, my people would never fill it out. And it's like, well, no, not if you just put it in a bulletin and you never ask them how to do it. We're going to teach you how to do that over the next several weeks, how to really get these things working well. But your connection card is a window into the heart of your people. And I don't know how you'd ever pastor a church without knowing the heart of your people. You find out so much from your people through these things, how they volunteer and how their prayer requests, who they're praying for. If they're always praying for themselves, if they're always asking for someone else, if they're reaching out and trying to touch somebody else, pray that so-and-so comes to know the Lord, whatever, you start to really get this. So make sure that you understand that the connection card system, okay, not just the card, but this is a system of asking for responses and how you put the different check boxes on there, all that. It's a big system, and that system is a window into the soul of your people. And it's a very, very powerful, powerful thing. The second thing I wrote down here in my notes is, the first one here is a failure to see it as a conduit to the soul. The second one is a failure to properly explain or promote these in your church service. Now, the primary place where you would use a connection card is in a Sunday morning service. This is kind of the service where everybody comes, generally speaking. I understand we have people that can only make different services during the week because of shift work, etc. We all know that. But it is a Sunday morning thing that we do at our church, and it works quite effective. And the way to make it work is it needs to be properly promoted. And it's not like a promotion, like don't forget to come to this or come for that, and it's just a quick little thing. This is actually where you say, all right, folks, good to have you here. And maybe you're the pastor giving the announcements. This might be someone else doing the announcements. But partway through the service, maybe after some other announcements or after some singing or whatever, you would open up your bulletin, and we hand these out in our bulletin. Let me grab one for you here. Okay, here we go. And we call it, I call it a bulletin when I talk to you, but really it's what we call sermon notes. And this is our sermon notes. It's all the sermon notes on front and back, sermon take-home questions, whole nother topic there. There's bulletin-y type information, and one of these, a blank one of these is put in there, and one of these is delivered to every person as they come in. They can pick them up if they're a little late, but we like to hand them out if possible. And you just say, go ahead and open up your sermon notes and take your card out. It's a green card this week, and I'd like you to do me a favor. Let me ask you a question, and I'm showing you how you properly promote this. How many of you have something very, very heavy on your heart, and you would like for us to pray, us as a church staff to pray for that need, whatever it is? It might be a person, it might be your own physical need, it might be a financial need, it might be a relationship. How many have like a physical need? Okay, let's handle it. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your card out and just write what that is right there. And you can just put the initials of a person if you don't want their name to be known, but just go ahead and share your prayer requests right there. And a little bit later in the service, we're going to pick these up, and we are going to, later in this week, pray for every single prayer request that is on there by name. Also, if you'd like for us to pray for you personally, on this side, just put your name right there, and we will be praying for you, and then we'll be praying for your specific prayer requests. When I get to the end of the message today, there are a couple volunteer opportunities that are here, and I'm going to explain those, and I would like for you to pull your card out a little bit later and to share that. But if you have any other requests or any other needs or any other burdens, go ahead and write those down, and we'll be covering some of these check boxes a little bit later. Boom. That's how you promote this, and that's done every single Sunday because you are wanting these to get back. Now, I make sure. Now, does everybody got one? Dads, moms, kids, everybody? Kids, you can fill one out too. Not a problem if you're in here. Okay, husbands, make sure you fill one out because your prayer needs are a little bit different than your spouse's prayer needs. So let's try to make sure that every husband gets one, every wife gets one. Go ahead and take that out. And we're going to play a little music and give you a moment to fill out your prayer requests and do some of that. And so you can do that. You can have a little moment of emphasis or promotion. And usually what happens is, okay, with newbies, you print the card and it's in the thing and it gets handed out, or maybe you have them in a pew in front of you and they are right there and you don't talk about them at all and you expect them to get filled out. And you expect visitors to fill them out and put all their data in there, and you don't ever get that. The way that we get the data on there is the same thing. It's like, hey, if you've been here for several times, go ahead and just put your name on the top of it. And if your email has changed or anything, put that, and that'll be fine. On the back side, there's some more information. You're here for the first time. We got a special gift for you. We're going to be mailing to your post office box or your mailing address. So go ahead and put that in there. We'll be sending that to you. And there's some other things that you can share in there as well. And we have, you'll see this, all the information that we collect on there. And in a couple weeks, I'll tell you how to get their cell phone numbers and be texting them and have a beautiful relationship going with these brand new people within less than 24 hours. We'll teach you how to do all that. So that is what we do, is we promote it regularly. It doesn't just, sit there and you expect people to fill it out. You ask them to fill it out. In fact, lots of times during the service, at the beginning part, if I've already made an announcement, I might say, now we are having a potluck picnic over at the park next week, and if you're planning on coming, why don't you go ahead and put a checkbox there, because we'd like to know who is going to make it to our big after church picnic that we're doing for the community. So go ahead and put your checkbox there. There's a couple other boxes there that have to do with the sermon, and I'll talk to you about those in just a little while. So you properly promote it. So number one, it is a window to their soul. And it's not just the card, it's the system. This system reaches into the lives of your people. Number two, it is the proper promotion of it. And the last one here that I wrote down is the failure to use, and this is the newbie thing again, a failure to use the card as an action point. The failure to use your card as an action point. So, in other words, people are going to say, I'm coming to the potluck, or I'll be at the baptism, or I'd like to volunteer to help with the men's breakfast or whatever. All of these things that you put on here are brand new every week, and that's why you cannot mass produce these, because you don't know what you're doing. Don't get into efficiency mode with your church. Okay, efficiency is we're going to pre-print all these. We're going to be efficient. We're going to print 5,000 of these things. We're going to have them all done. It is not about efficiency with people. It's all about effectiveness. And you want these things to be new every single week. We print them on cardstock. We print them kind of 4 up is how we do them. And if you think you're going to have 100 people, you just got to print 25 cards and cut them up and hand them out. And once you create that procedure and you get someone to help you doing that, it goes very, very easily. It's very simple to do. So we have a staff meeting ahead of time and go through these things and figure out what we want people to be check marking and volunteering for and asking to do. And then that becomes an action point. So after church, part of the system is that these cards are all gathered, okay, the offering people. We have some folks that do the counting and the offering, and they put all the money and take care of that. I don't deal with that, okay? But I go and I say, hey, let me see those cards. I want the cards, and I want that stack of cards. And what I have now is we have a person that accumulates, and I'm not sure what the word tally maybe, tallies like, hey, we got 27 people going to come to the picnic, and here they are. And I get this pastoral dashboard, and on the back of it, it has all the people volunteered that are coming to the picnic. It has the 4 people that are interested in baptism. It has the 7 guys that are interested in helping with the men's thing. It has their emails right there. So I have somebody just tally all this, and that becomes an action point. And we do things then during the week. So when you make this announcement about filling this up, you are really filling your schedule with discipleship for the rest of the week. You have people to visit. You have people to say, hey, don't forget the baptism classes on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. And don't forget the men's breakfast is going to be Saturday morning at 7 o'clock. And, you send all that information out, but it becomes an action point. This drives your schedule for the rest of the week, and it gives you the things to do. Remember, your sermon is what you believe. Your announcements and your system are what you're doing about what you believe. I know so many people get so bored with announcements. That's because they don't realize their announcements are actually the action point of what you really believe. And when you get people to fill this out and put their prayer requests here, you're going to be praying with your staff and people for those specific things on a certain day. You're going to be following up with these people on a certain day. You're going to be reminding these people on a Saturday to come to the breakfast, or you're going to hand all those names off to someone that does that, but it becomes your action point. So if you're a newbie, okay, brand new to this, make sure that you go and first of all download the guide, and that's reachkeep.com/connection. So you go to that, and then from there, read all that stuff and see how we do it. Make sure that you understand this is a window to the soul. This is a tremendous way to know what exactly is going on in your church. The unifying thing of our church is that we know exactly what is going on with everybody out there. We have very few people that do not fill out the cards. And we don't try to digitize them or make them electronic or whatever, and that's for another topic, okay? We do that. We make sure it's a window to the soul. We make sure that we are creating these action points from there, and that all is done because we explain and we promote it properly. If you'd like to learn more about this and even more details, not only can you go to reachkeep.com and hit the /connection and sign up for the guide. But we are doing some special training, and we have a workshop where we are teaching just on this topic. And you can go to reachkeep.com/workshop and type in the word workshop, and you can sign up, get into the workshop. You'll learn more about this. Actually going to be spending just detailed time going through some of this, but we want you to be there for the workshop. We want you to have the guide, and we want you to have a window into the soul of your people and build the unity that your church needs to have to reach the next generation. So this is Mike here in the old I Love My Church. By the way, someone asked about these shirts. We printed up probably, we've done them several times, but I think the first time we did like 350 of these shirts. We gave them to all our people. It's kind of a gratitude type thing. And then we had them take pictures of their shirts from all over the country. We did this around Easter's when we handed them out. And then when they went on vacations in the summer, we had them send pictures back of all of the, wherever they were. We have pictures of these at the Washington Monument, the Grand Canyon, the San Francisco Bridge, all over the country. And then on Sunday mornings, we go, hey, you're wondering where so-and-so is? Here they are. And we showed pictures of all the I Love My Church people. It's just fantastic. So I'll get you another t-shirt next week. I'm going to do a little t-shirt promo for you and get you fired up about some of the different ways that you can promote your church. So anyway, this is Mike at Reachkeep.com at the Better Sundays podcast. Make sure that you hit the thumbs up button and make sure that you subscribe. We are well on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and I want you to be one of those that helps me get there. So take some moment, hit the subscribe button, and God bless. We will see you next time here at the Better Sundays podcast at Reachkeep.com.